welcome to your darling station, the Living Television. We are at it again today. You are welcome to your favorite edition of Issues of the Moment. Today's edition of the Issues of the Moment, like we announced earlier, we are going to look at the local government from 1976 reform of the local government and until that. How has the local government fared? And the 774 local governments in Nigeria, have they been autonomous? What is the degree of autonomy? And how has they helped the common masses in the rural areas? These we'll be looking at. Today, I have three distinguished personalities in the studio who are going to do justice to this issue. And then from my far left is St. Moses Ogbonna. St. Moses Ogbonna is a practicing lawyer and a philosopher. St. Moses, you're welcome to the program.
Good morning, Nigerians. Welcome, Madrid.
After him, I have Barrister Chukwemeka Mwogo. Barrister Chukwemeka Mwogo is also a practicing lawyer and also a security consultant. Barrister, welcome to the program.
Thank you, moderator, and good day, viewers.
And last but not the least is Comrade Nnamdi Lekwachi. Comrade Nnamdi Lekwachi is a historian and a political affairs analyst. Comrade Nnamdi, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me and for welcoming me. Good day, our viewers.
All right. Nigeria has 774 local government areas, each administered by a local government council consisting of a local government chairman who is the chief executive of the local government and other elected members who are referred to as councillors. Each LGA is further subdivided into a minimum of 10 words and a maximum of 20 words. In today's discussion, we'll be taking a glossary look as it affects Abia State and some other states within. I want to start with you, Nnamdi Lekwachi. How has the local government fared in terms of autonomy?
Well, thank you so much. It's been a checkered history for the local government. Remember, Nigeria was amalgamated by 1914. By 1916, we had semblance of what may be called local government, but more or less traditional institutions. There was no uniformity in what would later become local government of today as we have them. There was no uniformity, there was no coordination, there was no activity, in fact, no stipulated, no clearly articulate policy as it had to do with law embedded somewhere to recognize this unit. But from 1916, like I said, we are seeing certain structures. But from 1916 to 1954, Nigeria became a federation in 1954 after the Littleton Constitution was passed. The essence was to do what? To make sure that power devolves from the center to the unit. By 1955, we had what was actually coming close to local government in the Arewa areas or in the north. I would say they had first what looked like a local government. Then, in 1966, there was under the form until 1976, when General Olusegun Obasanjo made the local government the third tier of government, with clear specific duties, functions, to even make bylaws and to exist in tandem with the state and the federal government. Ever since then, the history has been checkered. Whether you talk about the autonomy, just like we are asking, or even the existence of local governments, even the most important question is to ask whether they even exist in the research of the world. Yes. Now, we came to democracy in 1999 with the Constitution, and with the Constitution, scholars have called many things. Some say it's a corrigendum, some say it is this or that. An expert say the Constitution shot itself at the foot. But the Constitution came with a serious lacuna. Section 2, subsection 2 of the 1999 Constitution said Nigeria shall be a federation of states and an FCT. That is the end. Nigeria shall be a federation of states and an FCT. No mention of the local government whatsoever. If you come to the chapter 1, part 2 of the same constitution, then section 7, subsection 1, it establishes the local government to be a democratically elected local council. Now, empowering states now to make sure that it exists. It uses the word existence, structure, components. You understand? And then if you go to the same constitution again, section 162, subsection 2, it clearly stated how the resources are to be shared amongst these 3 tiers of government. That the federal government will take 52%, the state will take 26 point something. The local, which is about 774, all of them will take 20 point something percent. The irony of it is the same constitution made conscious effort to relegate this tier of government, that it now became an extension and continuation of state sphere of influence. That state governors will sit under the provision of section 162 subsection 2, which talks about state joint account, rather. It talks about state joint account to staff these local councils. And the implication is that the people at the grassroots do not even feel the sense of belonging. For example, elections at the local councils are managed by the state, not by any independent body. They don't call it state independent electoral commission, SEC. But unfortunately, what we've seen play out over the years has been the governors electing or selecting people they like.
Okay, we'll come to that. We are still looking at the reforms and the functions of, because if you look at the 1976 local government reform, guidelines, local government as government of local levels exercised through representatives, through representative councils established by law, to exercise specific powers. Council, Barrister Moore, I am now coming to you on this. Before we go into what is happening now, what was the formation of the local government, the autonomy, and how were the people felt before now?
Prior to now, historically, we had the native authorities. At the point in time, both before the independence and so soon thereafter, you had native authorities. And then somewhere along the line, after the native authorities, we now had county councils until it got to 1976, and we now had local governments. What is important is that by whatever name called, whether native authority or county council, the local government that we have today had existed right from pre-independence to post-independence, through the military era and up to this present time. It is also worthy of note that the present local government system we have today was a creation of the military in 1976. So that is what we have had till now. Comrade did mention that the Constitution made provision for the federating units to be states. That is correct. Strangely, virtually everywhere in the world, local councils are not federating units. It's always been the states, by whatever name called. In some, they are called regions. In some, they are called states. They are the federating units. However, in those other climes where more sanity prevails, their own system is organized in such a way that each knows its responsibility. And they have what you call the normal pyramid. Unlike in Nigeria, where we now use the inverted pyramid. In, I think, Britain also, they have They have borough councils, and in some areas also still county.
Yes.
I think even in US, they have their responsibility. They do not run riot because they are not federating units. They are under the states. The states still make laws. However, in their own little areas of jurisdiction, there are minor items of responsibility that they are saddled with. Things that look like, let's say, some traffic offenses, especially parking offenses, markets, tolls, and things like that.
Yeah, we'll come to the roles of the local government.
No, I'm just giving you an example.
Yeah.
They remain responsibility of the local government. Things that have to do with grassroots administration, that's the bottom line. Grassroots administration.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
that is what they are saddled with. But here, you have the inverted pyramid.
Yes, St. Moses. Talking about the local government, both from Comrade and Barrister Mwabu, we've had, we call it the origin, the etymology, how we started until now. From your own point, and also as a politician and also a practicing lawyer, what is the position of the local government as we speak? The government, the federal government then of Olusegun Obasanjo had something in mind, and even when they refer to it as the third tier of government, which is almost the least, the federal, the state, and the local government, and how have they failed as we speak?
We only know that the local governments exist. They merely exist in appearance. If you go to all the states, like in Niger State, we have 17 local governments. If you go to their locations, you see them. Cannot even guarantee you can go there and see the chairman.
No, they don't stay in the office.
The Constitution says that the local governments are, the establishment of the local governments are guaranteed. I went at another section and said, these local governments are supposed to get autonomy of the first tier, which is the federal government, the second tier, which is the local government, and the state government, and the third tier, which is the local government. And by the Constitution, what the state government is supposed to do is to supervise them. The role of the state government is a supervisory role on the conduct and the runnings of the local government. It's not to take over the local government. It's not to take over their finances. It is not to begin to control them. I remember President Buhari, anybody who criticizes Buhari, I know the area you criticize him.
Yeah.
When it comes to the welfare of the people, the ones that come to him, he reacts very positively. He says he's going to jail all of the local government chairmen who, after sending their allocations to them, reverse them to the state government. So that's what it is. That is good, that their allocations have to come direct to them. But today, I do not know. The moment they establish what they call joint
Jack.
allocation,
Accounts
and they
allocation.
establish
Read the Constitution.
Jack, where when the allocation comes, the state governors will take over and they ask the local government chairman to send their salary schedule. They will now pick whom to pay, whom not to pay, when to pay, and when not to pay,
And what to pay.
and what to pay. This extends up to the monies that are sent for the chieftaincy,
Local government and chieftaincy.
local government and chieftaincy. The ones that are sent to the education, the state government, back on. That is why we're witnessing owing of salaries, owing of gratuities, the essays and nobody talks for fear of intimidation. What the local government chairman do is at the end of the month, when the allocations are released, they go to the JAC meeting and they sign
a resolution
that these monies have been given to them. And we are told, we are not sure, but they have not refuted it, that they signed 5 million, each chairman. Once they sign they are given 5 million, they now sign that they have received their allocation. And all the monies that are, expended have been spent by them. We are waiting for them. By the grace of God. One day we will ask the chairman. That's why the local government, you go to the local government, grasses have overgrown in all the local government. All the chairman will only appear at the end of the month when the allocations are released. For Christ's sake. These monies are given to the local government for the local people to be taken care of. Nobody does that. And when you see the local government chairman, they are so huge. They claim they are leaders. Some of them will say they are leaders. They are generals. They determine what happens to the local government. Now that we are experiencing waiting for the thesis, you see all of them going about, carrying cows and lobby, so that they will be returned. That is not why the local governments are created. People at the local government are suffering. We want the state government to take over their state, take care of what happens in the state, and allow the local government to take care of the local masses. If you ask me how they have fed abysmally, woefully, and badly.
All right, thank you. Let me come to you again, Barrister Wong. The local government is responsible for a range of vital services, for people and also businesses in defined areas among the well-known functions. Include social care, schools, and so on. Since 1999 till date, I'm not sure there's any local government that can boast of building a road or even raising a block in any of the primary schools and so on. And then, what do we owe to this?
I would disagree with you, because I also have to discuss it from a position of knowledge. Actually, part of the intendment of the Constitution in establishing JAC is strength in number, the aggregation. Because there are certain projects that a particular local government might require several years, 5 years or more, to be able to fund and take care of. However, when they go through JAC, they syndicate effort and syndicate contribution, execute in a particular local government, and rotate it, the local governments rotate in turns. So to that extent, I am aware that several public primary schools have been renovated. The UBE
Universal
Basic Education funding and projects you see being executed in schools, those are actually product of collegiate effort on the part of the local government. That is actually the intendment, the type of thing that the Constitution intended. However, this is a country where we like to abuse. The money comes from the federation. The money comes from the federation account. And when it gets into the state, the essence of the JAC is the syndication of effort and contribution.
We are talking about local government allocations.
It is that thing you are seeing is funded from the allocation of local government.
By who?
By who?
By the local government.
The local government
listen,
is
can you listen?
chief
Can you,
executive.
Can you listen?
Can
Can you listen?
Part of it.
Yes.
Yes, so go ahead.
I am talking from a position.
Okay, you were one time a local government chairman.
Definitely.
Please don't defend the local government.
No, I will not
we-
defend, but I owe you and the public a duty to inform you correctly.
Beautiful.
Go ahead.
That is what I'm saying. I am not saying that all the time it has gone on well. I said, that's where I started. I said, look at what
We are talking about the allocation given to the local government. We are not talking about what the federal government, the
Which
allocation, the monthly allocation.
That is it.
That
The
ought to come
monthly
to local
allocation.
government.
No.
Do they come
No,
or do they pass?
no, you are wrong. You are wrong.
I'm not
They-
wrong. I'm
hold
asking
on.
questions. Questions are me wrong.
Hold on. We have the
That's
moderator that
wrong.
asks the questions, not from my fellow or co-contributor. So just hold on. Allow me to tidy up my contribution.
Go ahead.
Because General Obasanjo once said, because I am involved.
Yes, because
Now that is what.
Oh, I think because I'm involved.
Yes.
Ojukwu.
Okay, sorry, Ojukwu, my brother. Thank you. That is what is intended by the Constitution. When that allocation comes during the JAC, they first take out those what you call the statutory responsibilities and the frontline charges. When those are now taken out and deducted at source, then whatever is now remaining trickles down to the local government. Remember that that decision as to what is to be the project to be executed is the decision taken by the college of the local government. The chairman or whosoever is acting on their behalf at any given point in time. But along the line, like almost every other thing in Nigeria, has been abused. That is the point we are making. That's the point I intend to make. It is not only pointing accusing fingers at that particular place. I am not saying that they have done well. No, certainly not. They've not. They have derailed. The essence of that provision has been abused. Clearly. It is just like where you have the police and you go to the stations. They are not there to handle complaints from people. Every one of them wants to be on the road. Look at what is happening in Aba.
Just last week, they arrested me for carrying my generator.
They are your neighbors. They are your neighbors. So that's very good. You know how you deal with them. So that is also the way JAC has been abused. It's been hijacked over time by governors. It didn't start today.
Not governors, the states. Okay, we have presidency. I don't know what
I'm happy you remember. Yes, at the state you have the equivalent of the presidency. So they have ensured that that particular noble idea has been abused, bastardized, and hijacked. And it's been diverted. Funds are now diverted. And we are not talking about a particular state. No state is innocent.
Yes,
no state is innocent in Nigeria. All of them have found their own different and unique ways of strengthening their stranglehold on the council chairman.
Okay, comrade.
Yes.
The development of Nigerian local government system can be traced back to the native authority ordinance of 1916.
Yes.
I think that is during the colonial masters.
Just 2 years after amalgamation.
Yes. Now talking about, that is when it was passed by the British colonial masters. Now talking about local government development, starting from where Barrister stopped. Is there any development in any local government as we speak?
Without mentioning words, there is no development. Conspicuous. It's as clear as daylight that there is no visible development in any form, shape, amount, however you want to look at it. I will say this because I have talked about the section 162 subsection 6 of the Constitution which established the JAC so-called. Now, there is also the revenue sharing formula from Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission. The essence of all these things is to create arrangements where the local government, you understand, get fund. Council said something after. I don't know whether he was just trying to use legalists. I think after you deduct from the source means from the Ministry of Finance, federal, the source it is coming from, you deduct everything deductible. There is something left. The federal government will take, like I have said before, 52%, and we are talking about one entity.
Sorry, when I said at source, I meant at the state level. When it lands in the JAC, that union, that small room, that the state and the local government,
source.
Yes, at source. Because
let
me explain to you. It comes as a bulk.
We'll come back.
It can't come as a bulk. Why the allocation?
I know that is originating source.
I am from Isiala South. The one meant for Isiala South. It's for Isiala South people.
That is what
you cannot use it to develop.
That is what is called.
You cannot use it to develop.
Even as I say source, if you trace the budget,
yes,
that is what is called originating source, and that is the federal government. Without the federal government, this money is not coming. I'm sorry about that.
That's why you call it federation account.
Now, when these monies are released, the essence of all this is to allow the local government to take care of grassroots. To take care of grassroots. He has mentioned things like the markets and the rest of them. Now, all these monies, are they released? Yes, they are released. But the states, I won't say the governors, the states, 36 of them. Remember, I said one federal government alone gets 52% of the sharing formula. That is one. Now, 36 states will get 26% point something. Now, 774 will get 20% point something. So, how do you expect the development to happen there when they are getting combinedly a paltry sum of the resource? Now, listen, when this money comes down, he said at the collegiate level or at the state level. Now, the state governors, the president was even talking about it the other day. We sit and decide what they want. Because in most cases, if not all, these local government chairmen are not accountable to the people. They are not executive per se. They are not elected. They are appointed. In most cases, stooges, puppets, appointed, put in the seats, just to do what? Just to help the governors execute whatever they have to execute. And I have said it before, that the constant derailment of this tier of government has truncated development, has undermined development, has denied the people at the grassroots. Now listen, the other day a report came saying 133 million Nigerians were poor. Am I correct?
Yes, yes.
That 70% of these persons are to be found here in the rural area. It means that about 80 to 100 million Nigerians who are poor are in the local areas. You understand? Multinationally poor means you have to look at those things like education, agriculture,
health,
everything, health,
finance.
Now ask yourself, how many clinics do you know that a ward is supposed to have a clinic, primary health care,
yes,
at the primary health care level? How many wards in the local government have clinics? I'm talking about clinics, functional clinics. Now, let's leave that. Now bring it back down to administration. You say, are the local government chairmen, so-called, in quote, are they even executive? Are they elected by the people? Are they accountable? Are they answerable? Are they beholden to the people? Or are they answerable to the governors? To that extent, that is why you keep having a local government chairman in Bende living in Haba.
That's it.
A local government chairman in Bende living in Omai.
Only to reach Bende.
They become what Chinua Achebe was trying to define traditional rulers in this context. In 1983 book he wrote, the trouble with Nigeria, he said the kings became the traditional rulers, they became weekender kings. We have weekender local government chairmen, and they are the creation of the states. So the problem is that you cannot expect any meaningful development to happen. The other day the president said most local government chairmen sign off that they have collected the entire allocation and they return 50% to the state. Why? Because there is a section of the constitution that joined the account, section 162 subsection 6 rather. And there is also, I have said it, council said it is federating unit. But the constitution used the language constituents.
Constituents, yes.
Constituents. That's the language the constitution used. Now, I think if you go to the schedule, because everything the constitution says is captured in the schedule. If you go to the schedule, it means since you did by the local government, you are not also going to see them there. It says Nigeria shall be a federation of 36 states. The schedule will say they will include Adamawa, alphabetically down. Now the implication is that if we keep having this kind of system, it means we are learning the people at the third tier. You understand? And that is why the poorest people in Nigeria are supposed to be the richest. That's why the farmers. You understand? The fishers, the fishermen, you understand? The fisher folk, they are the ones who are supposed to be. In fact, they are not supposed to be the drawers and hewers of the economy. It's quite unfortunate.
All right, viewers, we are going to go on a very short break, and we'll be back. Keep watching Living TV, and as soon as we come back, I'm going to come to you, St. Moses. We are going to look at the allocations. Remember, it was in this hall that we discussed a woman, in fact, what elicited all this, a woman who is contesting in Enugu South, said one of the foremost things he's going to do as soon as he gets into the red chambers is to ensure that the local government will be autonomy again. Until we come back, keep watching Living TV. You get the answers as we come back.
Allow me to enjoy myself. Allow me,
Have you heard that Living Television, the latest satellite station on Satview channel, is received all over Nigeria and Africa? You can watch Living Television on every free-to-air HD decoder, including Strong HD and CSAT HD. Why keep paying for monthly subscriptions when you can have fun for free? With Living Television, you can watch lots of wrestling, football, documentaries, and Nigerian films, including discussions and debates on current Nigeria issues. Watch free live matches on La Liga Spain come Serie A, Italy come Bundesliga, German League 1, and French matches on over 80 premium channels. Wow! You can also sponsor your programs such as live church services and crusades, political rallies, burial and wedding ceremonies, promotional interviews, announcements, advertisements, documentaries, and commercials. We are situated at number 1 Judges Street off Ikorebane Road, Aba, Abia State. For further enquiries, call 0805 367 3900. Signed, Management.
allow me, allow me to enjoy myself. Allow me,
Have you heard that Living Television, the latest satellite station on Satview channel, is
I'm glad you're still there watching Living TV. Remember, what we're discussing today is the local government, and we all know that the essence of that creation is to make sure that development gets to the grassroots, and the dividends of democracy will also get to, the grassroots. I think that is why this the third tier of government was created. The question is development and dividends of democracy getting to the grassroots? That's why we're discussing this. St. Moses, I'm coming back to you. Now, from where Comrade stopped, we are talking about this. Now, even the last September, as published by this Yoruba newspaper, he published the September allocation of various states and local governments. And another one, the premium also published from 2015 to 2018 allocations. And when we are talking about this allocation, we are talking about both the state and the local governments. They are so specific about it. Then the question is, has the local government been duly given their due allocations?
By federal government, yes. The giving them their due allocation. The federal government is supposed to carve out a segment of their own allocation, state, a part of their own allocation to the local government. That of the state, federal government, arrives. We are not sure of that of the state government, the contribution of the state government. But that of the local government, Buhari said 100 million every month to each local government. And that he wants the local government to use it. Listen, there are 3 tiers.
Yes.
The federal,
Yes.
the state, and the local government. My brother, all these local people cannot get to the federal government. They can't even near Asorok.
Some can't even get to
Even
the
our
state.
brothers who are there cannot even answer their phone call. Those in the state, the first achievement they get is to stop answering the calls from the local rural people. The only government our people can access is the local government.
And the chairmen are not there. I don't see them on seat.
The local government chairmen have been snatched by the state. It is their loyalty is no longer
To the people.
to the people.
Exactly.
It is to the
To
state
the governors.
That's why I also say that we should remove what do you call them? This local
Joint account.
Not even remove joint account.
Yes.
Remove APSEC or whatever SEC
Yes.
they are. Because what these people do is to rubber stamp and stamp who will be the local government chairman and the councillors. That's why it is only the ruling parties that
Will emerge.
win
Yes, emerge at the state local government, at the state held local government.
win
election.
the selection, not election.
Yes.
Because the CX, wherever they are, I have never seen a state where an opposition party wins the local government election, either as a councillor.
Not even one.
Not even one. Because that is the source where they milk, pauperize these people, make them poorer. So that if you bring 5 naira, they will vote for you. The more poor they make the people, the more. That's why when the central bank says that they are
Placing limitation on withdrawal.
withdrawal, everybody is crying because the rural person that is
But
crying.
they've increased it this morning.
Yes, but the rural person that is crying not because the policy is not good, because the money he will get from the politicians for him to vote
It's not for
is no longer coming. The other one came to me there before yesterday. I said, "Did you not hear that the 20,000 they say we should bring, we are entitled to withdraw? Will not even be enough for my family, so I won't give you." And she started crying. You see, if we make these laws and allow these laws to operate, there is no local government chairman that recognizes you.
No.
Because you don't have anything to contribute. He makes his money, builds his houses,
That's all.
and they lobby for the next tenure. We have some of them that have been there for 4 times, 10 times.
Since you just say tenure, there is no definitive tenure. It's not even defined. It's not fixed.
Even the state government that is supposed
The
to.
tenure is fixed. It's for 2 years.
They fixed it for 2 years. But
But
it was
it's
supposed to be
fixed.
4 years.
For-
Before
not
now.
even for 3.
No, for 3 years.
For
For
3 years.
3
There
years.
is
supposed to
a
be 3
law. There is a law stipulating tenure. And do not forget that Section 7 of the Constitution gave the local government that right. It's been interpreted by the Supreme Court that tenure is equally under the law to be made by the state for the establishment of the local government.
We agree with you.
We
But
nobody is
when this
agreeing
thing
that-
is not done out of malice,
Yes.
all right, you
Agreed.
Agreed. Because you want to have a hold. Do you know that certain governors are afraid of removing a commissioner? Because if you remove the commissioner, it is the House that will approve. Screen the commissioner. And you know what screening means?
Yes.
With your original tax clearance certificate.
That is on the surface. What amounts to
They'll
the
pay.
original?
What
amounts to the
commissioners, local government
the
chairman, before they
particulars
appointed.
are padded. That when you are about to commissioner, to remove you becomes a problem. Because the House of Assembly, for them to approve another one for you, you will have to go to them. They will screen you. And the screening, only God knows what it is. That is why even the commissioners are not satisfied with what they get. Because even when after passing through this scorching hurdles, when they come into the office, they want to make the money without looking for what they are supposed to do. We are saying that when the local governments are autonomous, you remember when you were local government chairman, we used to have what you call an audit department.
Yeah.
I know you were auditing.
Of course.
There
You
was
have the internal, then you have the external from the Ministry of Finance, and then you also have that done by the House of Assembly.
Do they exist now?
I am not one, so I've not been for some time, so I don't.
Okay, thank you, St. Moses. I have Council.
I had a friend who was in audit department. I saw her the other day. She was always in the Selama South local government auditing. And when they tell you these auditors are coming, my brother, you make sure your papers and your documents
Are intact.
Because when they come, the first duty is to make sure that what they have come to inspect is in order before you now begin to appreciate it.
Okay.
No longer now.
All right. Before I come to you, Council, comrade, I want to ask you, because
Yes.
Council, yours is going to be dual because you've been there. So before I come to you, comrade.
Yes.
Now, talking about this federal government allocation, that even as the allocation comes, the local governments, theirs is so specific. How much that is due a local government, it's mentioned, and so on. Just from what St. Moses said,
Yes.
and then in our local government, especially the ones around us,
Yeah.
then what do you think the local government chairmen do with this money?
Well, if you ask me, I can't even explain what they do with this money, because the duties of local government, as we know them before, they are to do this, they are to even help in grading roads, sometimes even administration of markets. But I can tell you that if you go to all these markets, within the coordinates of where we are today, they'll be taken over by the states. The chairman, do they even have anything to do with the local government chairman again? I'm talking about the market union chairman, or do they relate straight with the state government? That's where the problem is. Because virtually in all the states across the federation, the states meddle in internal affairs of the local government. So the functions of the local government chairman may not be precisely seen. And you see, the question you ask is very important now. You know, I have talked about this the other day. I said the functions of local government chairmen have been usurped by the state to the extent that people do no longer know who represent them as ward councillor. A ward councillor should be a legislator, just like you have House of Assembly member and then a senator or a member of House of Reps at the federal level. Now you come to the executive level, you have what you call supervisor. This was to be equivalent of a minister at the federal level or a commissioner at the state level. People don't get to see these people now. They are like ghost workers. You understand? Now you also have, apart from that, you also have the local government chairman, who himself is the executive equivalent of the governor and the president at the grassroots level. But you see, the functions of these ones have been eroded. That state.
I want you to combine what you're saying with the federal government's accusation on the state governors, you know, about helping to impoverish the people.
That is where.
Do you think that is true? Is it as a result of these allocations meant for local government? They said they accuse the governors of looting them.
Yes, that was why
don't
they were resting on the
agree
strength
it is the
of
governors
they were
Okay,
it's the presidency equivalent.
they were relying on the
The state presidency.
where the problem
Some of
of
these things the governors are not even aware.
You see-
You see, when we talk about this protocol thing, do you know that there are commissioners that cannot see the governor?
Is it possible?
there are ministers too that could have.
That cannot see the
Why would you say it possible?
There are
Were you not
people
here in
that
this
cannot see
country
the governor.
when a memo
Not
secreted
because the governor
that
does not
nobody
want
can
to
see
see
the
them.
president
The
without
person
going
who
through
will
the
tell
process?
the governor they are coming. We not.
So,
You see,
yeah, please,
the worst thing that happened. Okay, if you talk about autonomy,
there's
move
what
on.
Moses said here,
Yes.
and I want to know how factual that is. That when the local government allocation, that the governors may not be aware on how they are dispensed. Is that what
No,
you're telling us?
I don't think that is
I
possible.
I
don't
said
know.
they looted. I said they
Okay, it's not looting. Okay, it's not looting.
There's no. The problem is that let us talk about autonomy. If we say autonomy,
Oh, yes.
the chiefest of this autonomy is finance,
Okay.
and that is why since the federal government releases this money, and then there is a joint account which the state controls. That is why the local government seem to be handicapped, and that is also why now since there is electoral act that did not contemplate, and this should be embarrassment, how elections are to be conducted at the grassroots level, leaving everything for the state. It's also another loophole for the states to do what?
There are
To
special
decide.
advisors
To decide.
that are more powerful than the governor.
Yes, we lived in
That
this
everything that passes into the government passes through these special, not even commissioners, special advisors, very powerful. They even make more money than the governor of the state. It is like that everywhere. If you look at them, they are so rich, so powerful. They distribute money. They go and they do all sorts of things in their own name, not in the name of the government. So these people, the chairman, the commissioners, and the appointees, go to worship them, and it is what they tell the governors, because the governor believes it. That the governor does.
But that is the fault of the governor. Council, let me.
You have not
please.
been there to know that the governor is not.
Let me come to, yes, one of in the reforms of the local government guidelines, we understand that the local government chairman is supposed to be the chief executive of that local government. I'm talking about chief executive. There are 5 distinct roles of the local government, and having been there, I want to know, like planning and zoning bylaws, taxation, local business support, then collaborating between communities and in the larger region, then assessing and using programs offered by provincial and federal government. Having been there, how executive are the chairmen of this local government?
Well, you must distinguish between the elected local
I'm
government.
talking about, that's what we are talking about here. I'm not talking about that.
No, you cannot discuss this in vacuum without taking into consideration the TC chairman. Because if you are even talking about some of these things, I think maybe you tend to witness them more during the tenure of the TC chairman. There are appointees, they can be appointed at will and fired at will. Okay. Now, the local government chairman elected, the executive chairman, enjoys some measure of immunity. Enjoy some measure of immunity in terms of tenure.
Okay.
In terms of tenure. In that the tenure is stated, you cannot just wake up and remove him before the expiration of his tenure. That's why I say enjoy some measure of that immunity. Protection, immunity, in terms of tenure. That is to be stated. So, when we talk about responsibilities of local government chairman, you must look at the schedule to the Constitution that has stipulated it. It's not something you discuss, it's not at your whims and caprices. When the president said that the local government chairman, the governors are responsible for poverty, by not releasing money to the, and I disagree sharply on this program. I said I don't agree with Mr. President on that, because that money released to local governments is not meant to be shared.
Yes.
It is for stated assignments as stipulated by the Constitution and also by the local government law of the respective states. So the fact that you have given them money, 100 million, does not mean that they now go and say, form a queue. Females on my left, males on my right, or yeah, start taking so as to eradicate poverty. No, that is not the aim. The aim is to execute assignments. Okay. However, those assignments are to be people-oriented assignments at the grassroots. They are the ones at the grassroots. They know where it is pinching their people. They know which road ought to be graded first. All the roads ought to receive attention. However, they know that if we grade Ozahiankwo first, it would help matters before we go to Ozahiori. And so they start from Ozahiankwo. But if you bring, if you give the money to the state will prefer to tar Azikiwe Road and not grade the road. Something like that. I'm just trying to put up this description so that you get, we put it in proper perspective. Yes. So that is the assignment of the local governments. Okay. That's what is expected of them. Even the derivation of revenue to the local governments is equally stipulated. I'll tell you one. Road closure. The local government has the authority to close a particular issue, a road closure approval, for purposes of any event. Yeah. That is a way that they generate revenue. They still do. It is small. It does not happen every day. But look at the issue of sanitation and market. That is the money spinning area in terms of revenue generation from the local government.
Yeah, exactly.
What do we have in all the states today? The states have
taken over.
Hijacked.
Have taken over entirely.
They appoint the market union leadership or administration, and with it they control what happens in any market. Exactly. The issue of sanitation is argued to be beyond the capability of the local government council, and so the local government councils sat down and ceded in writing, issued an instrument in writing authorizing the state government to take over this responsibility.
An edict?
No.
Okay.
They cannot, the local governments cannot make an edict. There's an instrument, not just a bylaw, there is a document executed. Okay. More in terms of either like an MOU or an agreement with which yes, we are ceded to the state. Coincidentally, that particular issue of sanitation and ceding of responsibility under that particular sovereignty did not start today. It started during the military era. It started during the military era, before even we went into 1999. Because then we also had some semblance of constitution in Nigeria. The 1979 constitution, we were operating the unsuspended parts of it. And then as modified by decrees. So that particular aspect was not suspended by any decree. The edict in the state could not suspend it. And so the then military administrators got the council chairman to cede the authority. So what now happens is that every time you have a change of baton elected, you get that crop of local government chairmen to execute that instrument and cede their responsibility to the state.
Okay, comrade, before we close for the day, there's something Barrister Wango said here. He said the money, the allocation given to the local government is not meant for anybody to share to anybody. Yeah. Now it is meant for specific
for projects,
for assignments. And don't you think that when these monies are given to the local government respectively, they will grade rural local roads?
Yes.
And when these roads are graded, then these market women, these artisans, will now have a way to sell their wares in this market. Like in my place, Ekabara, for some time during the rainy season, nobody goes there.
And we know the market.
And then nobody comes out with some of these wares. And when these things are not sold, don't you think they've also contributed in impoverishing the people?
You mean the local government?
Yes, I mean the state, just like
I have said here that the chiefest of all autonomies is the finance. So when you deny the local government councils or the local government finance, you've actually impoverished them. It's as clear as
because these projects are not done now.
You see,
Yes, that's what I
see,
mean.
when a local government receives 100 million naira, I support what council say, and I know Elder Concord. You are not to share this money.
But
you have
work
to
with
it
in such a way that it will not impact on the people.
This is the
when
premise.
the money is not there.
Three of us are agreed.
This
I
is
think
the
we are all
premise.
agreed on that.
This is the premise. This is the premise. On the assertion I made some time ago, I said that even the military, seemingly, apparently, we are more democratic in terms of the powers they give to the local government councils. Under the military, then remember very well that Aba South, Aba North, they all had tractors, they all have equipment, they all have facilities. Now, where are those facilities?
That's the question.
Where are those facilities? To the extent that I remember, I know a local government that had then harvester machine. Where are all these things?
Almost every local government in Nigeria had a grader.
A grader that will grade roads and then fix gutter and ditches.
That's the question. What's happening now?
What is happening now, to be honest, is that
see, let me assist you. When I was a supervisory councillor,
yes,
for health.
For health.
Yes, initially I was health local government. When the allocation comes, how much was the allocation then? 2.something million.
At least I saw your health center. They were
We distribute these projects from the chairman will ask us what are the projects you want to execute in your place. I said mine is health center. On grading of roads, the chairman does not invite contractors. What they do?
direct level.
We invite all the leaders, political leaders in the local government, to mention or bring up the roads in their places that needed grading. They will apply. And these roads will be given to them. They will hire the graders and tractors, as the case may be, and grade those roads. We will pass their bills at the F&G. We will pass it. Every time there is an allocation, if your own is 100,000, you will come. The chairman will say, okay, pay him
that amount.
No, 10,000, 20,000.
Out of the 100,000.
It will be, and they are happy because an income is monthly coming to them. They will be using it to offset what they use in grading these roads.
So it will be like a continuum. It's a continuous process.
Good. You remember that this road grading is done annually.
Do we have councillors who are still grading roads now? Both supervisory and elected councillors.
Where are they? Do they have the money? Listen, these people are not saying
because
bring
it's
the money
election
now.
time. Some elected legislators or some office seekers are now doing those things. You go into Ngwa Road area, you will see grading.
Grading is now
seriously going on.
Yeah.
I know
by
for
people
example,
who have actually abandoned these things earlier.
Who?
by people who have not
by people whose duty it is not even.
It's not even to do
It's
it.
not the duty of a legislator to grade roads.
To grade roads.
No,
It is not.
It's
It's not the duty of a legislator to grade roads.
But you can only attract.
But today they are doing it because they have seen that their people need it, and nobody is doing it for their people. Somebody like the honorable member representing Aba North Abasa Federal Constituency, Honorable Chimobi Ebisike, he's doing so well. I'm not campaigning, but everybody in Aba knows that he it is not his job. OC President also did. Osazubike also did in his own time. All of them, because they have seen that the local government, which is supposed to do it, is not doing it, and so they took it upon themselves to do it. Honorable Aaron Ozodike, I also know, is equally doing his own
But
thing.
is it the fault of the local government for not doing it?
That is the point we are making.
That's what we are making.
It is not
the local government 100 million is given to them monthly.
Yes.
I do not see a local government chairman that is so greedy
That he will
want
eat
to
all.
embezzle the whole.
Some will
we will
trickle
go and
out.
catch him now. We will go and catch him.
Some will trickle out. They must do something.
Okay, having said that, and then what is the way forward? Let me start with you. This is going to be just 2 minutes before we leave for the day. What's the way out?
The way out is very simple.
What?
We will one day ask the local government chairman what they are doing with our money.
Okay.
One day we will do it.
Mr. Wong, is that the proper way?
That would entail some measure of revolution.
I'm not saying revolution.
No.
We ask-
But that is
I
what.
ask-
Yes, you never can tell. You can predict how it will start.
Revolution may not always be violent.
Yes.
Or
You can always predict how to start
It
it.
could be behavioral.
How it will end, you may not be able to predict. However, mine is let the people.
If they don't have in mind that we will one day ask them, they will continue.
Hold on, sir. Let the people insist that the provisions of the law should be adhered to. I am a lawyer,
That's also the
and so, no, I am a lawyer, and so people can go to court and insist, take out an originating summons for the court to interpret that particular section of the Constitution. People are playing shy. Nobody wants to get it done. You understand? So when we do, and by the time we have several courts making the same judicial pronouncement, somebody definitely is going to listen.
Okay, comrade.
Well, democracy is a process that drives through conversation, through dialogue, and through talks. Mine is that since we've come to this point, I believe the time is ideal now for us to begin to revisit the 1999 Constitution. That document, certain sections, like the section that created the joint account, like the sections that tried so much to make the local government, you understand, subservient, or to an extent, an extension of the state government. All these things have to be renegotiated. That is my own position.
Finally, before we go, is it possible to reverse this joint account and make sure that the local government get their allocations directly?
Constitutional amendment.
Constitutional amendment.
That is not
the only way.
our problem. It's only constitutional amendment. But what we are saying is that there
The
is
one
nothing
in place
wrong
already.
with
Let
it.
us implement it well.
Well,
The constitutional amendment is a tall order.
Order.
The governors will frustrate it as they have always done.
yes.
They've
But the
always
money
done.
has come. How do you manage it? It's given to somebody.
Okay, our wonderful viewers, that is the much we can take for today. And remember, tomorrow, Nigeria Today will also come your way. Keep watching Living TV. From my far left is St. Moses Obona. St. Moses, thank you for being part of today's
Thank
program.
you, my brother.
And Barrister Chukwemeka Nwok, we are pleased to have you today.
Thank you, moderator, and bye,
Comrade
viewers.
Namdi, we're happy we'll also have you again.
I'm happy always. Thank you.
Thank you, and this is your moderator, Chinedum Adiele. Keep watching Living TV until we come your way again. Remember, tomorrow is Nigeria Today, where we treat topical issues and that affect our country positively. Keep watching Living TV. Bye for now.